Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And it's also a great opportunity to have people from so different countries. So it's always a very enriching experience. And I thank you for the invitation. I am a member of New Kids Online and also another project, Net Children Go Mobile. I don't know if you've heard. And I'm one of the members of the team who has been doing more work related with schools and the school context, and that's why I am here. Well, I'm not really sharing not good practices, but some reflections and ideas about the digital practice and school, which I think is also the aim, objective of your project, because you're talking about the people, the young people. We are always connected, always online, not on the streets, and not engaged in school. So that's the problem, and I think it's a problem for many people, also for us in Portugal. Besides being a researcher in TICS Nova, it's a research center where New Kids Online is in Portugal. I am an educational psychologist, and I work in a high school also. So I have every day this direct contact with young people from the 7th grade to the 12th grade. It means from 12 years to 18, 20, 22, 22, whatever. So it's, both experiences as a researcher and as a direct intervener, direct member on the field of education. I'm going to share some ideas, but I would like that we could talk about them as I go along. So you don't have to wait till the end. If something is not clear enough, then please ask me. So I think it's better. Because I am aware that all of you have lots of knowledge and practices related with this idea, which is digital practices and school. So all of you have been thinking and working on this issue. So all of you have so many things to share. So I think it's going to be a sharing moment more than just giving you something that we have worked on. Also, I have lots of things written because sometimes my English may not be so clear. So I hope it's easier so you can follow here. And then later I'll give you the PowerPoint if you're interested, of course. And there's also a paper that we wrote on this, so you can also have this printed, but we can share with you. So if anyone is interested on anything. When we talk about digital practices and young people, often people talk about digital gap. Okay, what gap are we talking about? Because mostly people talk about the younger and older, on the digital practices of younger and older people, which are different. But I think, in our opinion, which is more concerning and more important, is the widening gap between the culture of school and the culture of children's lives outside school. So all our lives, not only young people, but all of our lives have rapidly changed in recent years by the use of technologies. We all are connected in different ways with our friends, with our family, with our jobs, the way we work. And sometimes not in a very good way because, for instance, job has come into every day of our lives. It's sometimes difficult to go offline, even for ourselves, not only young people. So all of us have changed the way of life, and very, very rapidly. But school is quite resistant. It's one of the places in most countries, and I think the countries are here, it's also an example, where school still has classes between closed walls in a room with children and a teacher. And that's mostly it. And chairs and tables and whatever. Of course, there are computers and projectors and sometimes internet access, but the main core, the way school works, has remained pretty much the same, comparing to our lives outside. And if our lives changed, imagine the young people who really were living since they were born in a digital world, completely different. But well, this to start with some of the results of Net Children Go Mobile. You can find all the reports online on the website. Well, the main result is that the access to the internet is pervasive, and that young people are almost always on and available for digital communication on mobile devices. Well, this project is different from You Kids Online because it's fewer countries for one, but it's focusing on mobile devices and access to the internet, because it's the reality. Back in 2009, I made some research on mobile phones used in classroom. At that time, 7 years ago, most of the mobile phones did not have access to the internet. If they could take a picture and make a video, that would be great. And access to the internet mobile was so expensive, almost none of the young people had it. Nowadays, everybody has it. So things have changed. That's why we felt the need to focus on mobile devices and access to the internet, because it's a reality, is pervasive, and it's quickly changed and well, the way of life of people. But in 2014, they made a survey all around all these countries, and it was a similar survey to different countries, and just some results, not which are, well, everybody knows it's nothing new for all of us. That they really use a lot. They have access. This was access to the internet with mobile devices. That was the question. Okay, and it's very interesting to see the difference between school and home. Okay, they have almost all of them, and if you go to 15, 16 years, of course, it's increasing with the age. They have access to the internet by mobile devices, namely smartphones or tablets, mostly smartphones, in their daily lives. But when it comes to school, it really is lower. So the great difference between school and outside school. And we know, at least in Portugal, I don't know if it's the case in your countries, the mobile phone or smartphone is forbidden inside the classroom. You cannot use the smartphone. The children cannot use. Is it the same? Okay. Because they say it's disruptive. It's disruptive, yes. You see, they make noises. But that's the reality. So it's young people's lives, it's our lives. Everybody, I think, has see smartphones, and I imagine the internet access, and I imagine with emails and social networks and whatever, whatever you want, whatever you can get. Another reality, which also we are all familiar with, is that they have a social network profile. That they are in the social networks, not in paper like you have, but and Facebook and others, Instagram and so it's interesting to see also the gender issue that. Before the mobile devices and access to the internet, there were more differences between boys and girls in the use of technology. With the mobile devices and the massive use of internet, this kind of technology is more equal, not other things. But okay, this is interesting as well. And you can see that they start really, really soon. Although maybe it's not legal, but they go through the website and they make the so. Well, this is a very contested, sometimes, concept, but still can work, I think. So we can understand each other that the people who go to our schools today, the young people, of course, they were born and lived all their lives in the world with the internet, having access to the digital language of computers, video games, and interactive media. So that's their reality. And nowadays, it's even changing for the young people. I have a nephew, grandnephew, not nephew, grandnephew, very small, 4 years old. So he's used to the tablets. You touch the tablet, the screen, and it moves. So if he goes to a tablet like here, he does like this on a paper. When he sees a paper, he touches the paper, so he expects it to move, but doesn't move. So the physical reality, your physical contact with the world is also changing. And even ourselves, sometimes I I also we use lots of technology. I was looking something far away, and I just, for instance, I imagined that I could, make it closer, like with my eyes. So we're getting a little bit, because it's our interaction with reality is changing, and the Internet of Things is still starting, but will change. Well, what will change, but that's a reality. And also they have digital lives. That's the start point of your project. They have the ubiquity of technology, and also the digital forms of communication. And one very important thing, that digital communication has become as frequent and natural as face-to-face. For them,
probably more frequent and more.
Okay, yes. And but that's a question. Even for ourselves, many things have changed. The way we interact with our friends and families, how we share our ideas and moods, but for them, maybe more, and that is one of the issues. So, how your friend, how you live your friendship with someone, or experience your friendship, if it's face to face or only virtual or online, and the boundaries between which is your life online and your life in the physical world, it seems to be blurred more. For them, sometimes the difference it's not as clear as maybe for some of us who have lived some part of our lives with no digital communication. Different ages here in the room, different ages, but when I graduated, I did not have a computer. Not internet, I'm talking about computer. I had to type on a machine. But one of the things is rapidly changing, all the technology affecting our lives. What will happen in the next 5-10 years? Well, we don't know. Okay, but but this does not mean that they are automatically digital competent and have digital literacies, and that's one of the main points. Teachers often think and feel that their students are more competent on digital practices and technologies than they are, because they do all these things, they are always online, they use the smartphones and everything, and the social networks, and they feel threatened by the students in what concerns the use of technology. So they do not feel confident to go and do some activities based on digital practice with the students, because they feel, some teachers feel that students know more than them. And the paradigm of school, and that's one thing we are going to talk about, is that the teacher must know more than the students. Is that the way it is? As you were saying, maybe it's no longer possible to have this kind of paradigm that one person knows and the other and is going to teach the others. Maybe school and training nowadays has to be different, has to cope with the new reality. So we're talking a little bit more about that. But although they have all these practices, does not mean they have this competence and literacy. And what is, well, literacy we'll talk about and discuss, if we agree, what is digital literacy, because lots of ideas around this. But young people on their daily lives, they are engaged. They are completely engaged. They whistle a lot also. They are engaged. There's some of the things we would wish they were at school. That they were engaged, that they work in networks collaboratively, and that they participate. That's the things we would wish that young people were at school and training. Well, but in their daily lives outside school, they are engaged with social media, and they have active participation in network publics. And the networks, well, they have access to their friends regardless of their physical location. That they have networks that they manage. Sometimes they're more close to some others they are more close to others. They participate, they produce things, they create and participate in network communication. We can ask if this kind of participation is good or bad, but they are actually participating. They are motivated to. That's a very important thing that I think is one of the most one of the most important barriers, difficulties, limitations we face in school is young people motivation to curriculum. They are motivated to lots of things.
Learning.
You're learning, yeah. Learning, but inside the classroom, in the curriculum, that we think it must be.
And it's again a debate if learning in the curriculum, it has to be done inside the classroom or
of
just
course.
inside.
Yes. That's one thing. But what we wish is that they are as engaged and working collaboratively and participate as they are outside the classroom. That's what we wish, and we want. Something. But of course, intensive digital practices are not automatically equivalent to digital literacy, which means that they do not inherently have the knowledge or perspective to critically examine media and online content. It is one very important thing, because doesn't mean they are savvy interpreters of the meaning behind the internet and social media. Some of us, I don't think we're aware, but we're not really all. Sometimes we don't grasp what is really behind sometimes social media and the internet. But we, as grown-ups and trainers, I think we have more knowledge of what is behind the producers of content in the internet and the social media and the social networks, and more critically position in face of the content in the internet. But young people use it a lot. They're really immersed in the internet, but they do not have this critical capacity to analyze and to really understand and deal and navigate. Safely does not mean to be aware only about the risks. Safely it means that they can produce meaningfully, in that they can take all the opportunities without excessive risks. So it's a balance between opportunities and risks. But we'll go to that. But they know a lot about, they use it a lot, but does not mean they have the literacies and the competencies that can make them that the use of the internet can be useful in the way we wish it would be. The online world and the internet and the online communication has different aspects that require new literacies for all of us. Like to be online always. We can switch it off, but most of us don't. Okay? We can control whether we see the email or synchronize it all the time or just one time a day, at night or whatever. So how do we live? When I'm talking to you, not inside this classroom of course, but anywhere else, and the phone rings, and some people just pick up the phone. So they interrupt the conversation and they start. So we're trying to learn how to cope with this, all of us. You are having a gathering, a dinner together with friends, and how do people interact? We have to learn how to use. It does not mean we have to throw it away, but it means that we have to learn to interact with the physical reality and the online reality in ways that they do not.
Connection and disconnection.
Yes, to connect and disconnect, and so. But we all need. That's why some people say that literacy now is increasing to learn how to learn effectively while adapting to rapid changes, because they keep coming. The rapid changes keep coming. They will keep coming. Even when we did some work also in National Go Mobile, some of these researchers were trying to figure out the use of Facebook by young people. But it's not about Facebook, because next year it will be another social media, another social network, another way. So we have to go more meta-analysis, not specific, only a specific software. So things keep changing. It's one of the constant in the internet that it keeps changing. It's even a website or an app that you use, the way it looks, the way it's changing. So we all have to, not only young people, we all have to cope with this and learn. And of course, to navigate these digital resources, involves multiple skills and multiple literacies, namely media literacy, to understand how the media content is produced, technological literacy, so to learn how to manage all the devices themselves, but also critical literacies, to try to think about things, to understand the relations. And but the range of digital modes is increasing, so the skill set required to understand, process, and create using those modes also have to adapt. So, how can we teach people, and namely young people, in such a rapidly changing context? That's a challenge. We keep using. How can we cope with this? Well, digital literacy is lots of definitions. Some of it, like the ability to develop a critical relationship with media and to engage in communication in an autonomous, competent, and safe manner. And safe is important, but also autonomous and competent. Or a wide-ranging set of practices that enable people to create, share, and understand meaning and knowledge in an increasingly digital age. It means the focus also on creating things. One of the big changes in the internet was what we call the Web 2.0, when people were able to produce content to the internet, and the blogs start, everybody were writing, and all the social networks. And nowadays we read information, maybe mostly from our friends or people we want, than from newspapers or enterprises. So it's very interesting, this, but knowledgeably, in a way that you can, understand what's going on, because they are considered crucial for the 21st century. It's not possible, to participate meaningfully and safely in a context where digital technologies become increasingly present in society, of course, and to take advantage of the potential and opportunities, because lots of opportunities also, not only risks, lots of opportunities of digital technologies, and at the same time remain aware of the challenges and risks, so the balance between risks and opportunities. And next year on mobile also, we had a reflection, analysis on risks and opportunities. And so you have to take risks to have the opportunities. In real life, not only online, kids and young people and all of us sometimes have to take risks, but you have to be aware of the consequences of your risks. This is one of the important things. Like when you ride a bike, you take a risk. When you start learning to ride a bike, it's not easy. You can fall, you can hurt yourself.
When you wake up in the morning, you take a risk.
No, even asleep. So it's life. Life is about this. You cannot be 100% safe. So you have to be as the most as possible aware of the risk and the consequences. Yes, you should be aware of it as possible. But like driving the car is quite risky. All of us will. But most young people lack knowledge about, for instance, how content is produced, disseminated, funded, or regulated, which undermines the reliability of decisions, authenticity, or risk. The problems about social networks and how much they share is about how much they know, how things are organized, and how things work. But not only young people, older people sometimes do not know how things work. So what kind of information, when I put it on the internet, is going to be, spread. What I usually say when I'm training is that when you go online, whatever you post online, forget about privacy. It's online. So if you share a photo, let it go. It will. It's so the only thing you have to know is. Am I worried that other people can see this photo anywhere, anytime in the world, maybe 100 years from now? But, actually, what young people need, we also need, but they need in particular is to have more digital literacies and to promote these digital literacies, how to cope with this online world. Of course, schools need to be equipped to the ICT and the integrate digital technologies in the teaching and learning process. This is the basis. And this is still a problem in some regions of the world, even in Europe. Some do not have the ICT. in Portugal in recent years we had a big increase in ICT infrastructure, which was very, very important, not only about having the machines and the hardware, but having the network, the Wi-Fi and the cable network that allows us to have access to internet almost everywhere and with good conditions, more or less. But mostly schools have don't do lists and overprotective measures about the internet. And forbidding the access to the Wi-Fi in schools. Well, everybody has access to Wi-Fi anywhere in malls, in the commercial centers, in McDonald's, in gasoline stations, wherever. You have free access to the Wi-Fi. And now even access by your mobile network is it's not expensive anymore, so mostly everybody has. But one of the measures before was to forbid the access to Wi-Fi. They do not give the password to students. They cannot. So to restrict. So these are overprotective measures. And mostly when they talk about the internet in schools, at least in Portugal, you talk about a safe internet. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do this. And be aware of that. Be aware of that. Okay, maybe that is important, but it's not all important because there's also lots of online opportunities. You have to teach them how to catch these opportunities. That's why nowadays with the smartphones and the tablets, the bring your own device, it's an option. That they have their devices, so bring your own device inside the classroom. So schools do not have to invest so much money in buying so much devices. You can use, but then another challenge: how to cope and deal with so many different devices and the systems and everything. But it's an option, and some teachers are using it. Bring it, and then let's use it. And higher education, everybody takes their own laptop. So the universities, you do not, in the classrooms, you bring your laptop. We have some laptops around the university everybody can use, but so it's more flexible than that. Yeah. It does not cross, I think, anybody's mind to forbid the laptop inside the classroom in a university, I think. Well, at least here, you can take it. Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi, whatever you want, mobile, internet, whatever. So, but the challenge is about more young people. We are more protective. And we know that school rarely capitalize on the digital practice of young people, which are so rich and engaging, and that really have a high motivation potential, and not only motivation, but they learn a lot from their practices. How can we use what they learn in their informal, outside of school practices to the curriculum? How can we connect? Well, you can see that the variety of tools of social media, like Facebook, Twitter, video games, and whatever, are used by young people to discuss issues and problems, seek ideas and answers, as well as to entertain themselves. We know that. And when people talk a lot about dependence and that they overuse it, they use it a lot. They use more than they should. They are dependent on the video games and the online access. But that might be a reality and the problem we must be worried about. But it's also how can you use this potential of their interest and engagement and motivation to use for learning purposes that school has. And maybe if they find other uses for their digital practices, maybe the dependence they have on the practice will shift a little bit. I don't know if I'm... Like you have, I read some of your projects ideas. Is you're worried about they're not going on the streets, they're going mostly online, and they are over dependent of internet use. Because school generally does not use these resources that they use to help students manage them in ways that promote higher level thinking. So we have to be online with them. We have to work with social practices, with their social networks, so they can not teach really, but help them to discover, as well you discover, how to deal and cope with these new realities and use it for learning the curriculum, but not only the curriculum, because the curriculum also is not just a closed thing, is ever more flexible and fluid, because knowledge also is not as static as it used to be. The encyclopedic knowledge is not as useful as it used to be. Now, what is important about any adult goes finding a job is to be able to learn different things, because you're going to face different challenges in work that you did not learn in school, because things are changing. So you need to have the tools to adapt to new contexts and to learn new things and new skills. It's tiring. Well, but it's the way it goes. Well, when you all started your jobs, I think you did different things than you do today. So we have to learn. And when you're talking about learning, we're not talking about classic courses with a teacher, trainer, and you're talking about learning by doing, by sharing, by reading, by seeing what other people do, like you're doing here. What are you doing this week is learning a lot from each other. But well, our idea, I think most of you also think that school could promote collaborative work within social works, pooling knowledge collectively, navigating and negotiating diverse communities, and critically analyzing and reconciling conflicting information in order to perform desired tasks. Because one thing that the internet has is lots and lots and lots of information. To select information, to see if it's a trustworthy source, and to combine all this information is something you need to learn. And how to... And school should work on this. Not on what teacher says, but together let's search, let's see what we found, allow, is this good, is bad, compare, and build on it.
To accept
together.
The new role of the teacher. The school has to accept the new role of the teacher.
The new role of the teacher. That's completely, yeah. So I say that promoting digital literacies in school is not being trendy or simply an attempt to engage students in learning, of course, but it will engage students in learning. It's not just that. It's not only to recognize and integrate the experience of digital cultures of young people. It is this, but it's not only this. But it's very important also to value them and their experiences. But to recognize that young people need different kinds of skills and approaches in the digital era. And when they go looking for a job a few years from now, what they will need, what will they need? That's one thing we must think about. And supporting students to improve their skills and to become critical participants in their own learning. What we want is a society of critical participants, people who participate and they're aware of things and they have their own idea and can discuss and argument and learn. And change the ideas also, it's a good thing. So that's what we want. And of course teachers are key, always. And sometimes they're not aware how important they are. Well, I work with, as a educational psychologist, I work in a high school, and I feel sometimes teachers are not aware how important they are. They are a little bit depressed because the last years in Portugal, the austerity and the budget cuts and everything, well, people are not feeling really, so they're feeling a little bit low, but the main thing is that the role of teachers in education is to change, as she was saying, from information authorities, knowledge facilitators. And that is the key. And how to do this? The teachers' training has to change also. They have to teach them to be more, because it's not easy, but it's possible, and it's rewarding. I think if you can do this, then you feel that your students achieve, they're engaged, and they achieve their objectives and their goals, and you can have your curriculum also going. And that's what we were saying about the information inside the classroom. So no longer will teachers be the only and most authorized source of information and knowledge. Students are bringing to classroom information gathered on the internet and social media that might be more updated or accurate. It is possible, because online you can find PhD theses, I can find long articles, journal articles, so many things with so much information. How to select, but it does not mean they know more than the teacher. It's not about who knows more. It's about how you work with knowledge. Why do we have knowledge about? Why do we read? What's the objective? Is to use it for some purpose. That's the key that teachers can make the difference. Not only reading. If I read some books on physics or quantics or something, does not mean that I know really how to apply it. And we know that some teachers feel that their own functional skills are not as advanced as those of their students, and they question their ability to work on digital literacies. Lots of people have this. But they must be comfortable and sure that they have more critical thinking skills required to question and determine the reliability of information on the internet, and that's what is important. And they have the knowledge of the curriculum content to apply it to digital technologies. We have to focus on the strong things and make them. So it's not about teaching students how to use a smartphone. Don't need it. To play online games or to participate on a social network. Actually, you could learn some things from them, which is okay. It's about scaffolding critical thinking skills. It's how to, with their digital practices, help them to develop these digital literacies, these critical literacies they need, not only for the online world, but to all their lives. The school, they interact with people and everything. Publicity, media is all around us. All of us are submerged in it. So you need to be like you are aware of it. That they're showing me publicity from somewhere I'm walking in. So they're tracking me. They know where I am. So you're aware of it. It's important to be aware of it. So I'm almost finishing. So allowing students to create and consume digital content in the classroom may increase engagement and encourage the development of skills. And also free up teachers, allowing them to spend more time facilitating student learning and less time lecturing. Actually, it can be not more work, but it can free them, And support students to become active builders of knowledge in classroom. Implies changes, of course, in the traditional role of teachers and the flexible use of classroom, because, of course, for instance, as an example, the mobile nature of some technologies and organizing collaborative activities may require that students are move around the room instead of being seated at the table, as I was saying, and make a lot of noise, but they are doing something worthwhile.
But it's creative noise.
Yes. So promoting digital literacies, providing more opportunities for independent learning, involves the inclusion of out-of-school, non-formal and informal learning, and flexibility in the management of the curriculum content. It's one thing sometimes teachers do not have, is this flexibility. They cannot, the curriculum is very, they have to do these, these objectives. So the policies should change also. Because it's necessary that teachers have time to explore new pedagogical approaches, they have time to share with other teachers experience and ideas, and to be encouraged to experiment with innovative practices. It means that needs policies to change. Educational policies need to change. Otherwise, teachers do not have time. They are all filled up with classes. They need to have time to share, to think about it, and to learn. So. And for instance, there is a Open Up Education Initiative, European. You are aware of it? Okay, it's well known from 2013 and lots of measures goes in this direction, like supporting teachers, creating communities, foster personalization. Lots of good ideas. They have the portal that people can go and see things, but. We cannot only wait for policies to change, because there are European policies, then national policies, and then local policies, and then the management of the school and everything, so it takes time. What I think, to change teachers' behavior and attitudes in a way that they feel empowered and secure in the space perceived as being students' territory. There's no policy is going to do it by itself. There needs to be the direct engagement of teachers. Even if policies change, even if the management of school change, the teachers need to change their attitude. And I think one of the ways, and I believe in bottom-up initiatives, is there are some teachers, isolated individual teachers that are making are using new and innovative practices, and minor scattered changes may create a forceful impetus for structural change if they are promoted and coordinated. So I do believe that if you support teachers who are integrating the digital practice of young people in their classroom by sharing and publicizing their achievements, and in a national level, because you have to feel that you understand that makes sense for you, not in Denmark or Finland or something, it's not Portugal, so I need to feel it's possible in my own country, my own culture, my own reality. And if teachers are encouraged to dare to create and innovate in a collaborative context, we believe that small changes can contribute to system change. If others can do it, maybe I feel enthusiastic about trying and do it also. It's step by step, but I think it's steps in a very, not only the right direction, but in a very rewarding direction that will bring us good things. You cannot fight it, join it. It's like a philosophy. You cannot fight the internet, you cannot fight the digital practice, you cannot fight online world. Just use it for your own purpose. And so in conclusion, digital technologies are fully embedded in the way we live, work, and trade, but they are not in education and training systems across Europe. The school remains the stronghold, the last stronghold does not let that kind of world inside. And informal learning is happening everywhere and all the time, and often through digital practices, and that formal learning could profit from young people interested in enthusiasm in informal learning contexts, using mobile devices and digital practices connectors between what side is that? So schools could build on the way students are using their mobile devices to extend education outside the classroom into the conversations and interactions of everyday life. It's not anymore, it cannot be anymore, it's not, but we have to accept it is not anymore a classroom with four walls. It's, you know, the walls are not there anymore. They are, but they are not. Because, you know, it's not I am in the school and I'm outside school. Because things get ever more interchangeable. The knowledge you gain outside, when you're talking about an issue in the curriculum, you can go online everywhere and you have other ideas from it. You can search on the internet, and sometimes you find sources which are not reliable, but the students find it. So whatever comes first in the Google search, they take it. But you cannot think about the school as isolated, and you cannot think about knowledge as something static. It is not. It's changing. And biology, physics, whatever, language. See, this is one of the main barriers, that because they perceive young people are having more online skills. And this assumption of this myth is maybe one of the reasons, the main reasons why they do not promote digital practice in classroom. They feel insecure. And the school needs to go beyond providing basic knowledge about safer internet and everything, and help students to cope with the new challenges of the ubiquity of the internet, because it is there and it's going to be. So the teacher's training should focus on critical thinking competencies in the digital era, rather than being limited only to technological competence or internet safety. When you talk about TIC or ICT training for teachers, you teach them how to use the Facebook or the internet or the Excel or the Word. Okay, that may be important. What's more important is to think about how to deal with this changing reality. It's a critical thinking competencies. So changing is happening faster and faster. We cannot help it. So both in technologies and their impacts in our daily lives, the way we live our lives. And school has an urgent and decisive role to bridge the gap between formal learning and everyday digital practices, and to prepare young people to adapt to a changing world. That is the main challenge. So, digital gap between culture school and the cultural children's lives outside school is not just about having more access to technology or ICT training. It's essentially about having competencies of using critical thinking and a diverse set of skills in digital practices. That's what training, teachers training must be about, and we must all learn about it. We're creating knowledge as we're sharing it. So I think this is the challenge. Thank you.